Sure.
How do you get your financing?
A lot of creativity. I've helped raise $500,000 for 2 documentaries, and I've raised $10 million for startup companies for tech. Actually, the process isn't that different for angels. The difference is in the sources. So for documentaries, typically it's been foundations or rich people who are looking for tax write-offs. Okay, legacy, they call that legacy funds. And there are a lot of people like that in the Bay Area. So, you know, you just find your community. Or for example, let me just give you a quick one. One woman was making outdoor sports, and she said, I don't know how to make money and get money. And I said, just go to the San Francisco Yacht Club. There are a lot of rich people there. So she went there, and they had a paraplegic guy who was competing. And then he said, hey, why don't you make a documentary about him, because he's competing. It's kind of cool. So she got all the money from the Yacht Club members for this paraplegic, and they're all cheering, and he made the movie. So, you know, a lot of it is just going to the community of people who are really passionate about what you're doing, and then they're all kind of interested, and then they'll support you. If they don't have the money, they'll write letters of recommendation.
So I thought what we would do here is ask a few questions, get things going, and open it up to the audience. And I'm sure the panel will do that for about an hour, and the panel, I'm sure, would stick around for more informal discussions later. But I'd like to get a sense of the crowd. How many of you here are in high technology type businesses and might be interested in the technology aspects of what we're talking about? How many more film and traditional film media? Okay, television? All right, drop your camera. Well, then I'll get rolling with something I'm going to direct this first one, let Lynn lead it off. It's what's this online television stuff all about now? Because I've been hearing a lot about it. I've been seeing it. You know, I heard something about Google and Disney the other day. So tell me what it is and how it works and where you fit in and where it's going.
So there are people like myself that are independent television producers. Revision 3 is here in San Francisco. There's a host of them. And there's a couple places where you can get, like Revision 3 is probably a good example, but there are places where actually every week people are releasing these webisodes. They're reality shows. There's a lot of them are newscast type shows, or they comment on things that are popular in Hollywood. Those have been some of the most popular shows. Matter of fact, well, and they distribute the show on YouTube. YouTube is just a player, though. You know, there's different players you can get. Player in the technical thing of how you watch the show, Vimeo. And then also a lot of websites have their own shows that you go to a website. You know, there'll be Roger Royse TV soon. You'll have your own each week. You'll take your education clips, and you'll film, you know, a standard type show. So they're separate from, you know, what you see on network television. And then some of the networks, like the Independent Film Channel, are starting to release original shows on their websites. So the show might not be big enough to make it to a network, but there is a place for it on the websites. So if you're making a show, I guess I call it TV, webisode, there are homes for it. But basically you become an independent producer and an independent distributor, and then you try to channel it into existing websites and channels that already have an audience. It's like selling a book. You want to get your book on Amazon. You don't want to have to sell the book out of the back of your car or independently on your website. So, but it's starting to take place, and then the goal is to get your show sold to some of these bigger, you know, Revision 3s, and then get it to a network, because you need that distribution. You want to get it to somebody that already has people coming to the site. Yahoo Video, AOL Video, those are 2 more locations. We talked a little bit about Netflix. Netflix does not accept independent shows yet. But if you can get it to a producer like Lionsgate or another producer that's already producing shows, and they have it in their you know, portfolio, then you have a chance. So that when Netflix is, I'm sure it'll be a year, Netflix will have, come see the first original Netflix, you know, TV show. Actually, I think Kevin Bacon actually got one on there. But it's going to happen. You just have to keep finding your way and your path to get your show onto those distribution channels.
Where do you go if you want to produce documentaries for distribution? Who would accept them?
Online or?
Well, either film festivals or online.
Well,
Sheridan, you probably know.
Well, I mean,
maybe online is the.
okay, the easiest way to do it, okay, I'll be frank, is like I have friends who sell, he makes like $3,000 or $4,000 a month, is 35 years of DVDs, you know, and video. What he does, he puts on samplers on YouTube, just like does that and puts it out on Twitter and all over, so people go there and they look at the trailer, and then they go to his website and he sells his DVDs.
So it puts a trailer on.
Yeah, just a trailer from the, and so he sells, and he says, yeah, he sells like $3,000 or $4,000 a month just doing that. It's pretty easy stuff. So that's a simple way of doing it, and you don't have to pay everybody anything. You just write to your own site. So a lot of people just use YouTube just to show, right? And then you can point it, if you want to do a webisode, to build the franchise, because his is like all, you know, archive stuff. Whereas what you're talking about is fresh. So then you can actually do both. Just point it to, you know, the old stuff and then your new programming to build it. And I guess the trick is then how to figure out how to. Well, you can just start on one page, right, website where you have the old DVD sales and then your cheap TV channel right there, right?
Well,
So it's like a story.
one of the challenges, though, you know, is that you need to be able to, when somebody comes to your site, they watch your YouTube video, they watch your clip, you've got to be able to get the information back to them, because if you don't have a way to come back to your audience, you've lost them. Because, you know, they come, they like it, that's nice. Are they going to remember? They're not going to bookmark it. So we've got to get away. You keep building that mailing list. I think if you're independent, that's the key, because you've got to remind them, hey, our second episode's out. You saw the first one. Come back. Here's the teaser for it. So you've got to get that communication going somehow, some way, to feed them, to remind them that your show's up and out there.
And the best way to capture that is what?
I still think it's email.
Email.
I mean,
Right.
email, Twitter followers, Facebook fan page, the standard social networking.
Asking people to register when they first.
Especially, my favorite is this reveal code on the fan page. If you want to watch my trailer, like my fan page. That is the best. That's got to be the easiest. And if anybody out there knows how to make that reveal page, that reveal code, it's easy.
Liz, what sort of legal issues are does this bold new industry pose? Because it's new and it's different, at least to me.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of them are traditional legal issues that have come up in all formats and all media, having to do with licensing and rights and those kinds of relationships. And I think what happens with the new media is that you have new added layers of relationships. And with those layers comes new problems that have to do with the consistency between the agreements that you have, say, between one content provider and one platform or online service provider or mobile service provider or somebody who's acquiring that content to then provide to others. And what kinds of inconsistencies can there be? You know, people, in order to, a lot of you have made, I think, independent films or interested in doing that. You've had the very fundamental problems of being sure that you have the permission of those whose faces appear, and those whose work you're using, purposefully using, of work that ends up in the background of something you're filming, of music that's on your video, of music that you pick up on your video, of you know, literary work that's on there, quotes, all of that kind of material, whatever it is, has legal issues associated with acquiring it. And then, aside from getting a license for that, knowing, am I licensing this from the right person? Did I get the assignment from the right person? Did that photographer who said I could use his photograph, did he really have the right to it? Or maybe he had taken that for somebody else who holds the right. How do I still be sure? When is it enough that I have cleared the rights with somebody, I thought? And then, okay, I got that photograph, but there's a person, or there's a group of people, or there's a crowd. What does that mean in terms of the rights? That's stuff that we've had traditionally with everything. Now you've got to, as the content provider, provide the comfort level to the next distributor that you're providing your stuff to, show that you've done the due diligence, that you have those written agreements, whatever they are that you need. And that person is going to have to assure somebody else down the line that that's the case. And each of them is going to have the supplier provide a warranty as to the fact that they have done those clearances, that they're not infringing somebody else's rights with this, and along with that warranty, get an indemnification agreement. If you truly didn't do this and you infringe, then and I get sued for it, or somebody brings a claim, you're going to pay my attorney's fees, and you're going to pay whatever I end up owing to somebody else. Maybe that person doesn't have the pocket to pay for it, and then you're promising the next layer down the line that you have secured that. So those, while the problems are often the same, they're more layered. It's kind of a writ large situation. Yeah.